Hello everyone, this is KenBroTech and welcome to KenBroTech. So in today's tutorial, we are going to be working with Folium and integrating it with Django. So this is what we have for our interface. Now what you see over here is a heat map, and it is kind of depicting the various populations we have with some specific locations we have inside our database. So right at the back end, I can add in a new country. Let's say I want to add Brazil. So the population of Brazil, let's say I put in 200 million over here. I need not to type in the longitudes and latitudes over here. It will be automatically computed for us, and we are going to see how we handle that. So immediately I click on save. You can see that now we have Brazil. The population is showing up over here. The longitude and latitude is also showing up over here. And now when we come to the map, when we refresh, we are going to see the heat map around Brazil. So when I refresh, we are going to see a location in South America. I mean, obviously where Brazil is, as we can see, and we see the heat map over there. So as far as the heat map goes, the bigger the figure you put in there, the deeper the image is going to show. So if I'm to change this to, let's say, about I think 20,000, and click on save. If we come back to come and refresh, now we see that here is a little bit deeper than it used to be. Now this can be an application to represent data, population density, and things of that sort. So before I proceed, let me quickly say a big shout out to some few guys who are bigging me up as far as my YouTube channel is concerned. So I have Mushfika Rahman. Sorry if I got your name wrong, but then I'm most grateful for the comments. Some of these things encourage me to do more. Then also my homeboy over here, Afote Udai, obviously a Ghanaian, and I'm Ghanaian, so I think the name give you up over here. And no disrespect to anyone, but I think this is by far maybe my biggest fan out there, Bryce Sa. I don't know who that person is, but I'm inclined to believe he's doing some great work, and I appreciate all the efforts and all the big up. And I have Pahan Madka over here, who is also sending in some good feedback, and I'm most grateful. And as I always show some of these things, I try as much as possible to respond to some of the feedback and questions you ask me. And Simon Opare, I also believe is a Ghanaian or have some Ghanaian descent, is also bigging me up. I'm most grateful for that. Then also I have Mawen Adidi. Sorry, the names, I may not get the pronunciation right, but I just want to show appreciation to those who are commenting. And I have GTech Lab Academy. I'm most grateful. Matthew Oluwadare, I believe the name sounds like Nigerian. I'm most grateful. Omo Niger. Then I have Shadrach Danford. A whole number of people. Sorry if I couldn't mention your name over here, but then I'm most grateful for everybody who is pushing my channel. Thank you very much. Okay, so right about here, I've created a Django project, and the name is heatmap project, and I have nothing done apart from just creating the project. Now, if you're a complete beginner, I have this Django series. I'll leave the link in the description below, and it pretty covers the very basics. So the assumption here is you kind of have some kind of basic understanding of how the Django architectural framework and everything around Django works, so that we can actually move very fast. So back in VS Code, we are going to create an app. Now we have a project, we are going to create an app. So I'm going to type in python manage.py start app, and the name of our app is going to be dashboard. So we have dashboard created over here for us. So now let's do some of the basic settings that we need to apply over here. So I'll go into my heatmap projects folder, then go into installed apps and register our app over here. So our app is going to be dashboard.apps.dashboard config. All right, so this is going to be the proper thing to do. Okay, so I think we are in business. Then let's go into our templates over here and also put out a base directory for our template. So I'm going to say template over here. All right, so this pretty much is trying to tell Django that we want to have a template folder in our base directory, and Django should recognize that as a place we are going to keep all our template files. So I'm going to come here outside everything, which is actually the base directory, and put out the folder templates over here. I have this folder, and inside the folder I'm going to have a partials folder. The partials is then going to have base.html. Then inside the partials folder, once again, I'm going to have nav.html. All right, so this is what I want. Then inside the template folder, now I'm outside the partials. So as you can see, I'm clicking on the template folder. Then what I want is, I want to also have another subfolder. I'm going to call this dashboard. This is actually depicting the name of the app I have over here, so that I have all my app templates in here. But I think with this particular project, we are going to deal with just one template. All right, so I have this working out over here for me. So I have my template sorted, and let me close this out over here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run my dev server. So I'm going to say python manage.py run server. All right, so our dev server is running, and we can actually have access to this particular link over here. So I'll do a control and I'll click on it, and we have Django set up over here. Now we are going to work on our views. So we are going to go into our app folder, which is dashboard, and go into views.py and write function based views over here. So I'm defining a function index, and index is going to take in a request from the user, and we are going to return render, and the first parameter we pass in here is a request, then the name of the template. So the template is in a folder called dashboard, and the name of the template is index.html. All right, we've seen this quite a number of times, especially with the Django series I did. So if you are quite lost over here, like I said, I highly recommend you go and watch that video. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file over here. I'm going to call this urls.py, and once we create our view, we need to have a corresponding URL to do the routing for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run an import over here. So I'm going to say from Django.urls, I want to import path. Then the next thing to do is to import the view over here so that they can talk to each other. So I'm going to say from the current directory, I want to import views. Then what I can do is I can now do a URL patterns, and this is going to be a list of path. So I'm going to call this path method that was already imported for us over here, and path is going to take some parameters over here. So as far as that function goes, the first is going to be an empty string, and we are going to call views dot the index function over here, and I'm going to provide a name for the URL, and this name is going to be dashboard dash index. All right, so this is good. So we are through with this. All that we need to do is to come into our project folder over here and go into the project URLs and pretty much inform our Django project that you are doing the routing internally. So we are informing it over here. So the first thing I need to do is to come up here and import include. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a path, and it's going to be my base URL. So I'm going to leave here blank, and I'm going to call the include function over here, and the name of my app URL. So it's going to be dashboard dot URLs. All right, so let me just put up a trailing comma over here. So I think we are having some issues over here. It says does not appear to have any patterns in it. If you see valid patterns in the file. So I think our URLs, our dashboard URLs is having a problem over here. So when I come in here, all right, I think the spelling of the patterns. So I'll bring this, and when I save this, okay, now we are in business. Our dev server is running. All right, so now let's go into our template and just put out some few text over here. Then let's say I have this over here, and let me just put out an h3 tag and say map. So when I save this, and I'll come back here to come and refresh, you are going to see map over here. So everything is working perfectly. So now let's go into Bootstrap and go and grab our CDN. So I'll click on all releases and go to the version 4.6. So I'll just grab the starter template over here, and I'll put this in base.html. So this is going to be my base.html, and I'll clear this. Then just about here, I'll go back here and go into components and go into navbar, and once again grab this over here and put this in navbar nav.html. So this is what I have. Now I'm going to change this to info. So I'm just going to grab the background over here and change everything to info. Then I think I have a container class over here so that I kind of center everything in there. And let me just put this over here. In my final design, I don't have the form, so I'll get rid of the form. Then I think I don't have this as well. And yeah, the drop down to, I don't need the drop down. Yeah, so primarily I'm going to get rid of everything over here. And I'll save this, and this home. Yeah, I think this was map. And I think this was also gone as well. All right, so let's just put up the URL over here, the one we just specified. So you put in a template tag, and the URL is dashboard-index. That's the name of the URL. All right, so I think our nav is okay. Not quite. I think the next one, or the next thing to do, is to change the text color over here. So I'll do a txt -white. I'll copy this, paste it here. All right, so I think this is just about it. So now let's go into base.html and go and include this over here. So I'll put this, I'll say include, and this is going to be in partials /nav.html. All right, then all that I need to do is also to come into my index page. This is basically template inheritance, and I'm going to do extends. This is going to extend from partials, and this is going to be base.html. So after saving everything, if I'm to come back to come and refresh, we have our navbar sitting right over here for us. Now the only thing we need to put out over here, let's come back into base.html and put up a block content. So I'll say block content, and I'll end block over here. All right, then I think, yeah, let's do the proper things. So let's do a block title over here too, and let's end it here as well. Okay, so let me just copy this, Control C, come in here and also change this to block title. So there's going to be title for the title, and I think I just have home page over here. Okay, so this is going to be in the container, and let me do, so in the container you are going to have a row, and we are going to have a call MD10. So inside our core MD10, we are going to, inside our row, we are going to have a margin top of 4, and we are going to offset 4 to MD1 so that it places it in the middle for us. And this is where our map is going to go. So let me just have an H1 tag over here and type in map here for now. So when I refresh, we have our map, which is going to sit over here. Now let me close this, and all right, so now let's quickly, now we are through with our templates. Now let's go into our model, because we are definitely going to put out some model over here. So inside our app folder, let's go into models.py and creating a class, and what I'm going to have over here is data, and we're going to inherit from models.model, and the first attribute over here is going to be country. Country is going to be models.charfield, and I'm going to specify a max length of 100, and a null value of true. Then the next one is going to be population. So population is going to be models dot, and I'm going to say positive integer field, because population cannot be negative anything. Okay, then I'll say now it's equal to true as well. Then the two most important things we should be looking out for is the longitude and latitude, so that we get the specific location. So I'll say let me start off with latitude. Latitude is going to be models dot, and let's use a float field, because the latitude can be negative or positive numbers. And let's provide a default over here. So the default is 0, and let me copy this and paste this over here and change this to longitude. All right, so after doing this, now I want to have a strange representation of my model over here, and this is going to take in self, and I'm going to return, and I'll do self.country. So this is def double underscore str double underscore self, and we return this country name over here. So I'll save this, and let's open a new terminal, and I'm going to do the migrations over here. So I'll do python manage.py make migrations. So I'll run this, and the model data is being informed. Then I'll do python manage.py migrate. So this is going to migrate our models for us. All right, so we are through. Now we need to create a super user so that you can have access to the admin page. So I'll do python manage.py create super user, and like I always do, the name or the username is going to be admin, the email is going to be admin@gmail.com, the password is going to be 1234, and it's going to tell me it is too short and things of that. So but then I'm going to accept for the purpose of this work. And if I am to come into my URL and do a /admin, I'm directed over here. So I'm going to log in, and I'm going to type in my username and my password, and here I am. But then I want to register a model so that I have it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into inside my app folder, go into admin.py, and what I need to do is to import the model module over here. So I'm going to say from the current models, I want to import, and what I want to import is data. So I'll do admin.site.register. And what do I want to register? I want to register the data model over here. So after saving this, if I come back to come and refresh, now I have data over here. Now as you can see, this is data. We can change it, and what we can simply do is to just have a class meta over here, and I'm just going to say verbose underscore name underscore plural, and we just have to specify a name of our choice over here. So I'll say data, and the S is now going to be taken care of. We have data over here. We can equally change this to anything we want. So we can say Brony or population data or anything of that sort. So this is good. All right, so now we have data over here. Now what we can do is to actually go into data and kind of manually put in countries. So let me say I have Ghana over here, and the population, let me just say 30. Now if I'm to manually type in longitudes and latitudes, it's going to be some kind of a difficult work. So what we are going to do is we are going to compute these longitudes and latitudes based on the country name which was given. And I think this is similar to the previous video I uploaded, so you can go and check it out. Now we are going to use Geocoder. So first of all, you need to pip install Geocoder if you don't have it, and let me just try and do that pip install. Now I already have it installed, so it is going to tell me the requirement is already satisfied. But if you don't have it, you just have to do pip install Geocoder like this. So when you run this, it's going to install it if you don't have it. Now I have it, so it's going to tell me requirements already satisfied, as you can see over here. Now the other package you also have to install is Folium. So you also need to do a pip install Folium, and it is Folium that we are going to use to derive those maps. And it says I also have these requirements satisfied as far as Folium is concerned. So I have Folium, and everything is going to work out for me. So now what we can do is we can actually import Folium over here. So I'm going to import Folium. So I have Folium over here. Now I'm going to come into my view, my index view or function over here. So I'm going to say map1, and I'm going to call the Folium package, and I'll do folium.map. All right, we've seen this before. And all right, so what this is going to do is this is going to create a map object. Okay, so if I'm to do print map1 in the terminal, let's go into our terminal and see exactly what's going to happen. So our dev server is running. Now if I'm to come here and come and refresh, you are going to see folium.map object at this particular whatever. So this is creating a map object, but then we don't want a map object, we want an HTML representation of it. So what I'm going to do is, and we saw this in the other video, I'm going to overwrite this map object, and I'm going to say map1 dot, and I need an HTML representation of it. So I'll do underscore rep r underscore HTML, and this is actually a method, so I'll end it up this way. Now what I want is I want a context dictionary, and I'm going to pass map1 over here as my key, and my value is also going to be map1. And finally, I'm going to pass in a context in my return value over here. So this is going to work out, and all I need to do is to come into my index.html, and where I need to render this map, I just have to pass in my template tag. As you can see, this is some kind of data, so I need to put it out like this. And if I save and come back here to come and refresh, we saw this in the other video. Like we said, we want an HTML representation, and it is kind of giving us something of that sort, but we actually want to see map or a map. So what we need to do is we need to pass in the save filter. So if we pass in the save filter, come back to come and refresh, we are going to see this map over here. Now, there are some few things I would want to show, which is quite a bit different from what we did with the last video, because there are lots of things we can do as far as Folium is concerned. So I want to take specific use cases and show different things. So what we are going to do is we are going to specify a location over here, and the location is going to be like some kind of starting point as far as the view of our map should be. So I'm going to say 19 negative 12, and this I'm typing over here is my longitude and latitude. Then what I'm going to say is I'll specify a zoom start of 3. So when I save this and come back to come and refresh, we are getting this over here. I think the zoom start is too big, so let's do a zoom start of 2. So I think 2 is going to work out, okay for us. So we have every aspect of the world on it. But as you saw me demonstrate, the map was dark, okay, and we don't have this dark over here. So what I didn't show the last video, and I think this is why I'm doing a couple of videos around the same topic. So what we can do is we can actually specify something over here to define how a map should look like, and that's going to be tiles. So as far as tiles goes, tiles is going to specify the kind of map that we want, and there are quite a few, but in this particular example we are going to use the cattle db, and the name is going to be dark_matter. So this is going to be that dark map we are going to see. So when I save this and come back to come and refresh, we now have this dark map over here. There are quite a number of them. There's also one called positron, so that's also a dark a cattle db tile, and if I refresh, this is that kind of a map. There are different types, and as you move along we are going to see the different types soon. So we are dealing with dark matter, and we are halfway through. Now what I also need to show is with the geocoder. I explained in the other video, and what we saw, or what you saw me do in the other video, is I actually had, let's say, import geocoder over here. And what geocoder will help us do is, for instance, we can come up over here and say name. So name is going to be, then we call geocoder.osm. okay, then we specify a location in here. So for the location, let's say I want Ghana. Now I can do a print statement of the name. Okay, now this name is not going to return exactly what I want, but then I want to show you the processes involved. So if I'm to refresh this, you are going to see the name Ghana over here, but over here I can actually have access to the longitude and latitude over here. So when I do .lat, I want to access the latitude of Ghana. Okay, so if I save that and come and refresh and come back into my terminal, we are seeing the latitude. So geocoder is pretty much taking an input and computing the latitudes and longitudes for us, and that's exactly what we are going to do over here as far as our model is concerned. Good. So what I'm going to do is I'm rather going to import geocoder over here. So I'll do an import of geocoder here. Then we are actually going to rewrite our save method over here. We have actually imported geocoder in our models, so we are going to rewrite the save method, and I'm just going to come down here, just about here, and save is going to take in self and also taking args and keyword arguments. We're going to take in args and our quarks. And what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to say solve.latitude. Okay, solve.latitude should now be equal to our geocoder.osm. Okay, just as you saw me do. Then inside OSM, I need to pass in the location, and the location is now going to be self dot this country variable we are going to type in there. Then I'm going to do a dot lat over here. All right, so this is going to compute the latitude for me, and I'm going to duplicate this, and I'll do the longitude over here too. So longitude, and this is going to be dot lng. All right, so what we have over here is pretty much more or less like a replica of what we have over here, because we have the name which we are grabbing from the input, okay, which is self.country. Then we are getting .lat to get the latitude and things of that sort. So after doing this, I need to save it. So I'll do a return and super, and I'll do .save. Okay, and save is also going to take in keywords and the args. So I'm going to pass in the args and the keyword arguments over here, which is the quarks. All right, so I think this is just about it. So now let's see how things will pan out if we try to save a country over here. So let's say we come inside here and type in Ghana. All right, and type in a population of, let's say, 200 million. Now when I click on save, we get Ghana saved. Okay, now when I come back here, we see that automatically the longitude and latitude has been computed for us, and that's exactly what we tried doing. Now what I want to do is I want to change the outlook of what we have over here, and in order to do so, let's go to our admin, and over here let's use the list view. So I'm going to create in a class, and I'm going to say data admin, and this is going to inherit from the admin class over here, and I'm going to say admin dot model admin, and I'm going to say list underscore display. So list display, and let's use a tuple over here. So what then do you want to display? We want to display the name of the country, the population, the longitude and latitude. Okay, basically everything. So all that I'm going to say is want to display, first of all, the country. Then you also want to display the population. Then again, the latitude and longitude. So latitude and longitude. All right, so I'll save this, and what I need to do is to come and pass in the data admin over here. So I have data admin inside my registered view over here. So if I come back to come and refresh, now we see this lineup over here. Now let's create let's say we have UK over here, and let's just type in something random. Now when I save, because of the save method we overwrited, the latitude and longitude is going to be plotted for us. All right, so now let's go into our views and see how we can work with this. So right about now, we don't need this because we are working with this in the model. And let me also clear this up over here. So in order to get our heat map, we also need to import another cage inside of Folium. So I'm going to say from Folium, I want to import plugins, because plugins is what we are going to use to derive the heat map. Then what I need to do is to come down here and write in some logic. Now I'm going to say plugins.heatmap, and the first parameter is going to be some kind of data. Okay, so now let's just put out some static data before we look at how we can write a query to get our data. So let's say we have a variable data over here, and data should take in a longitude and latitude and a particular value of some kind of magnitude, which in this case is going to be our population. So for the longitude, let's say I have 19 and 12, and I have here as 3000, and this, let's make this a list of lists. So let's have a list over here, and let's do a comma, and let's just have another set of values over here. So let's say we have 20, 10, and yeah, this. So we can now pass in the data over here. All right, just like this, and we need to add this to the map variable we have over here. So we are going to say map1. All right, so when I save this and come back here to come and refresh, we are going to see the heat map showing up over here. Now if I zoom in, you can see the regions were very close to each other. That's why you kind of saw it zoomed out. It was almost as if it was one spot, but then we see the two spots over here. All right, so I think we are in business. So the next thing to do is to write a database query where we can have our data and put it over here. So that's also going to be very simple. So let's define a variable data, and let's say we have data.objects.all. This is what we are quite used to, and this is actually going to collect. So you don't have data imported, and that's why you have this red flag over here. So we need to import data. So I'll come in here and I'll say from the current models, I want to import data. All right, so we don't have any problem over here. So we can actually say for data in data, okay, we can, let's say print, and what do you want to print? You want to print data.country. Okay, I want to print data.country, and this is going to be printed in a terminal. So I just have to come here and come and refresh. And if I come over here, you can see that we have Ghana and UK, and that's basically what we have in our database. We only have Ghana and UK over here. All right, now the way a manner this data is being rendered out, okay, and the way a manner which we need to present it in the heat map is quite different. Okay, the heat map, it has to be in a list, okay, or a list of lists. So a way to go around this is to actually let me also clear this over here, and let's say we have a variable data list. Okay, so data list is now going to be data dot objects dot, and I'm going to say values underscore list. Okay, so this values underscore list is actually going to print out it's in some kind of what we actually need in order for it to work. So let me print out the data list variable I just created over here, and once again let me refresh this and see exactly what we see over here. So if I'm to come down, you can see that we have this, sorted out in some kind of a list or tuple or some kind of arrangement. So over here you see that we have the primary key or the ID, which is 1, then Ghana, then the population, then the latitude, longitude, then we have number 2, which is UK, the ID for UK, the name of the country, and things of that sort. Now what we actually want as far as plotting on the heat map is concerned is we want the latitude, the longitude, and the population. So we have to get rid of, for instance, the name and the primary key over here. So what I'm going to do is we are going to specify the fields that we need over here. So the fields that we need is we want latitude over here. So we are going to do latitude. Then we also want longitude. Then we would also need the population. All right, so when I save this, let me close this up so that we see everything going on over here. And once again, we are still printing this out. So if I'm to come back into my browser and come and refresh, we are now going to see that, yes, this time around, we are only printing the latitude, the longitude, and the population. We've gotten rid of the name of the country and the ID that came with it. So this is basically what we need. So I'm just going to clear this off and also clear this static data we have over here. And now I'm going to pass in the data list variable over here. So when I save this, it is going to work because this is now going to grab data from the database and it is going to serve the same purpose. So when I come and refresh, we can see that this has now changed location because the UK is somewhere here. As you can see, when I go further, this is the UK and what I had earlier on was Ghana. All right, so let's put in some new data for other countries as well. So let's come in here and say we want something for Brazil. We have Brazil over here, and let's say this is not just population, but then it can be, let's say, unemployment rates, the number of trees in a particular area and things of that sort. So let's say we have, this is the population of trees in a particular area. Now when I just click on save, it is automatically going to compute the longitude and latitude for me. And if I come back here, we are going to see that yes, Brazil has a lot of forest reserve over here based on the kind of data interpretation that you want to have over here. We can as well pick up on some country, let's say Russia, and Russia has forest reserve of just some data over here. And when I save and come back here, we are going to see Russia being plotted and things of that sort. So this is actually a good thing and it makes data visualization very meaningful. All right, so the last thing I'd want to do is just to also explore something in the plugins package in Folium and also see how that one also works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'll say plugins dots, and I think, yeah, this is full screen, and we want to have a button where you can click and have this map on a full screen. So it is asking us of a position, so we can put up a position over there, and I think all that we need to do is to say we need to add this to map over here, and the name of our map is map 1. Now I think the default position is going to be the top right corner of our screen as far as this map is concerned. So if I refresh, we have this button over here. When we click on it, it gives us the full screen of the map. Okay, and this looks good. Now we can actually change the position by specifying over here. We can specify position. So position, we can actually do a top, and let's say if we decide to do a top right, okay, that means we're going to put it on the top right of our screen. So if I come back to come and refresh, you can see that now we have this over here. When I click on this, it gives me a full screen and I can zoom in and zoom out. And this is a very good beginners program or project that you can try your hands on as far as the Folium package is concerned. Like I said, I'm going to release I think about 5 videos of different use case application of Folium and how we can interpret data or kind of work our way around data. Now you find this tutorial very interesting. There are a couple of ways you can help me grow my channel. Already, I'm so grateful of the growth I'm seeing. Sometimes I wake up every morning and I wake up with a smile because I wake up with new subscribers. Now you find this tutorial very interesting. Kindly subscribe if this is your first time. Also, click on the notification button so that you'll be duly notified anytime I release a video. And don't forget to pass in the comments. I'll give you a shout out in the next video, or personally send you a message. Thank you very much. I'm most grateful, and bye bye.